What is up, everybody? We are back again on the S10. Next step in the process, we're jumping right into it. The steering. This is the original factory power steering box. Came with it. Of course, everything has been removed. Power steering pump, all that junk. My original plans were to go ahead and reuse this. Just kind of cap off those ports. I didn't really know exactly how this worked, but I thought I was going to cap off the ports, just make sure it was full of power steering fluid, and then go from there and assume that'd be fine. But really, I kicked myself for that and thought that's dumb. I'm just going to get the aftermarket. The nice one switched to a real manual race type Pinto rack or whatever they're called. So I got one of those delivered. It came with another steering shaft in case this one doesn't work. I think this one will work. I'm not 100% sure. I will see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But for now, the new box is here. I'll go ahead and open that up and take a look at the new one, and we'll start taking out the old one. Alright, side note, it is about 12 degrees here, so if you see me wearing a bunch of goofy junk, it's because it's freezing, but no time to sit around and not get anything done. And I know everybody's gonna be like, oh, it's negative 20 around here, blah blah blah. I don't care, it's negative 20 around here some days also, but today it's 12. That's just what it is. So in the first box, we got another box. So I got it open, and of course it's full of packing peanuts. Anyway, looks pretty slick. I'm not 100% sure how everything goes together here, but guess I'll read the instructions and we'll see what's going on. Here's that new steering shaft, and then of course the rack and pinion, whatever you call it, bolts on the frame of the truck, and then these arms will shoot out, and that's what goes on your spindles and controls the steering. So my camera messed up there, but I got the old steering system out. It's pretty easy. 2-3 bolts over here, 2-3 bolts over there. Of course, once you got it off the spindles here. So pretty easy. Pull that apart, drop that out. It's kind of heavy. That's about all the bolts it took. These two on that side, the nuts are inside the frame, so you got to use an extendo and kind of go in blind, but not too bad once you get them started. Before we keep going, the new chromoly shaft will go up inside this old shaft, and then weld to that. So gonna cut this off where it ends up being flat here, or where it goes back to being a tube, not this like double flat part. I forget what it's called, but it's for the rag joint on the old steering system. And then I'm gonna cut off that little engine guard or brush guard, whatever, I don't know what it's called. That's the plan. Get to cutting, my favorite thing. That one's gonna be a little intense of a cut and clean. This one not so bad. Let's get to it. Got this front bit good and chopped off, and then got this wheel, the steering shaft chopped off. You can see I already cleaned up the edges a little bit. It looks pretty good, and of course the new steering shaft will fit right inside there, and then weld up to that, and then it'll come down here and at some point make a turn and head down towards the steering rack. So at this point I think I'm ready to get the steering rack into place, kind of hang it between the two spindles, kind of get an idea where that's going to go down there. And then once that's in there, I could start worrying about these mounts. This one, guy that'll mount here, and then the mount here. I can run this new shaft up from the old down to the new. Alright, so I gave her the quick redneck eyeball alignment here just to kind of get this thing hanging so I can get the idea in my head. There's basically two mounts that are gonna weld onto the frame to hold it. There's this bracket mount right there that I have bolted on, and then there's this tube mount that'll weld onto the front of that cross member, and then the rack will sit in here, and then hose clamp into this guy, keep it strong. So this is probably where I'm going to start, and then that way I can this one will be the easiest one to get on. Checking the length, it's already right about where I want it lengthwise, which is good. So I can go ahead, weld this on. The biggest thing will be making sure that this is level, that this piece is directly perpendicular to the vehicle so that the steering rack isn't off at all. So go ahead and start trying to get this guy stuck on there. Alright, so I got this guy all set up into place using something called mag tabs. I don't know if you guys have heard about them before, but if you're ever doing welding projects by yourself, you need that third hand for TIG welding or something like that. It makes it super easy. So I got the two main mounts welded on. I don't know if you remember from earlier in the video, but I ended up kind of going off the print here. Ended up using the mount they sent. I'm using this square tube mount that I just kind of made up because I'm using the factory came over here on their instruction pictures. They have a tubular cross member here, stock frame rails, but tubular cross section. I'm going to use this stock frame cross section, and so there's this little fold in the weld here. Much easier to just use a square tube, have a smaller footprint that I have to attach to. I don't have to fit it over this little lap in the weld. So I'll probably do this now that bolt holes are drilled and everything's ready to go. Probably go ahead, pull the rack back out, and then run a little brace from the side at a 45 to the frame. Just since I'm not doing what they sent, just want to be extra sure that it's all braced out and everything. So take that off and get that going. So I got these two mounts finished up, welded on, painted. So now I'll go ahead and install the rack, and then we can mess with getting the actual steering shaft from there down to the rack. Well, my camera messed up on me, but I got her in there. She's strapped down to the center mount, and then got the two bolts in on this little square tube bracket that I made for it. So it looks pretty good. Happy with the space. It's pretty dead even on both sides, so glad with that. I guess the next step is gonna be to kind of build from splines up the steering shaft. So probably start with deciding how far I want to go on this guy, how far down before I'll have a U-joint that splits off to the steering rack. So guess we'll get started with that. So it's pretty dark out, got tied up with some other stuff, but got her finished up. Pretty happy with it. Once I had it all tacked in place, I took it all out, painted it. Then up here I went ahead, drilled 2 holes and did a double bolt little install on that guy. So nothing's tightened down or torqued. I'll probably soak those things in Loctite or use a nylock nut or whatever just to make sure those things never come out. But yep, so that'll be about it for this video. Pretty happy with how it came out. See, you twist this guy and they're moving down there. Pretty neat. Everything worked pretty much. On a normal install with factory headers and stuff, I don't know if this would fit. If you're doing like a LS or big block, because there's a third U-joint here that you can use if you want to bring it down further and have a sharper turn, so you have to have 2 U-joints in there. I didn't use that because I think I'll be fine with this clearance. I'm gonna have headers that are coming forward instead of down and back. They'll be up and forward, so I'm not really concerned about the header clearance down there quite as much. So I guess we'll find out when I try and throw the block in it in a few videos. But for now, pretty happy with how it turned out. Like I said, you turn this guy, you can see the steering wheel moving in there, so everything's hooked up. No more power steering, no more failure points. Everything's all mechanical. Very happy about it. So if you want to keep up with the build, follow the channel. Check out the Instagram for pictures and stuff you don't see on YouTube. And have a nice day.